Hello and welcome to another Tips with Cliff video. This time we're going to be looking at a demo that Alex has sent in on Inferno. Some context behind this demo. Firstly, Alex said that he didn't think that he played particularly well. And also that his team were just sort of not really following any kind of default plan. They weren't playing default spots, they were just going wherever. And also that Alex is a very new player. He's by far the youngest in terms of play hours, and that will have an effect on your ability in the game, obviously. So we'll try to keep this video as helpful as possible for newer players, and see what we can see, and hopefully learn some things about how to play Inferno. I think by preference, Alex likes to play long on A, but I think he has to play B at certain points, so he said. So let's see. Yeah, so at 141 the round is pretty much lost, unfortunately, because T's are taking a kill on B, and B is an incredibly hard site to retake, along with, just quickly going through all the maps in my head, I think probably Dust 2. So Dust 2 and Inferno, B site on both, are probably the hardest sites to retake in the game. So you really don't want to lose these sites with only one kill. I would say this round is like 95% of the time this is lost within the first couple of seconds, and it's because the CTs decide to play 4A and one player B. Also, I'm not really sure why 3 people are ups, but again, it's solo queue, you can't predict what teammates are going to do. I'm also going to give you some tips on what to do in the situation that you find yourself in where your team is sort of just doing their own thing. So in spawn, ideally you immediately want to have an idea of where you're playing. So for example, when you start the match, you should say, okay, I'm the long player, I play long on Inferno. But in solo queue, we can't always get what we want, and we have to be flexible, and we have to adapt to whatever the team is doing. So in spawn, ideally your team would say, okay, player 1 would say A, player 2 would say A, player 3 would say A, and then you would think, well, I have two choices. I can play the spot I want to play, but if I do, I have no chance of winning this round. Or I can play the spot that I don't want to play, and the game's going to be more difficult, and I'm probably not going to perform as well because I'm playing a spot which is uncomfortable and unfamiliar to me, but I can still have impact on the game, and maybe I can learn something about that other spot, and then I can improve my versatility in Counter-Strike. So if you're solo queue and you see, because let's say the team's not coming where they're going, if you see 3 players heading to A, you do need to immediately say, okay, it's going to suck, but I need to play on B. I need to play in a position which is going to give me the best chance of winning the round, because ultimately that's the most important thing, even if it means that I'm not going to have the best individual time of it. So ideally we would go B here because we saw teammates go towards A, 3 teammates go towards A. But, you know, it's perfectly understandable that you don't, because you want to play long, but some of the time we have to play positions that we don't want to play just to give ourselves the best chance of winning the round. If we are playing long, from spawn we should just go through this arch and play here. If we're playing short, then we can go around here and play like this. There's no reason to be like looking at pit or going around here. We can just immediately get to our spot as quickly as possible. And if we're going apps, we can go through boiler, although be careful about this cross, or we can go through back like this guy. So yeah, this sucks. It's a piss around where you have no chance of winning within the first 6 seconds because people don't play the positions they should. But in those kind of rounds, you have to sort of sacrifice and play a position you might not want to play because it's beneficial for your team. So you retake through CT, and you take this fight, and this guy just destroys you. Oh, that's okay. Again, you have no chance of winning this round within the first 10 seconds, just because of the nature of solo queue and people not playing the correct positions. Okay, so now someone else is going B at least, and you're playing your preferred position of long. I think this is your preferred position, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I don't really know what you're doing here. Okay, so I mean, I'm going to guess that your thought process is, okay, I don't want to throw the smoke immediately because it's too early, which is correct. So that's good. It's good that you have awareness not to throw the smoke too early, but we also don't want to just stand here with the smoke in our hand. Um, Now at 141, I don't think it's possible for a T to be this close to you, but I think possibly they could be like here if they were full sprinting. And also, I feel like because you're a very low experienced player, you're probably going to panic if people are just like running up here super fast. So being in this spot is not great. The other reason is that if a T chucks a HE grenade, which I think this guy has out, like for example, he could be here on this timing. If he chucks a HE, it would bounce off this wall and then land here, and you would take a ton of damage. So a better position, if you want to like smoke on a timing, would be further back to have your crosshair on this run up, and then have a timing in your mind. So let's say the timing is 135, and then at 135, swap to the smoke, bounce the smoke off the wall, then swap back to the gun. We don't really want to just have like a smoke in hand when we're in the open like this. Yeah, I would say at 138, it's possible if a T was running up, he could actually peek and kill you. So this is not great. And I don't think this smoke is very good either. No, it's not. Because if a T was coming up to this smoke, and it's a very deep smoke, they can go into the smoke and come out short, and they'd be completely obscured to you. They could also get into apartments, kill your teammates in apps. If you had a teammate short, they could come out and isolate a fight on short because you're behind your own smoke. So a better way of doing this is playing further back, having a set timing if you're delaying the smoke. So let's say it's 138, having your gun out until 138, at 130 out, swapping to the smoke, left click bouncing the smoke off the wall for a better smoke, and then you can immediately go back to your gun. Safer, better position, better smoke. So you actually come back here, which is good. Good afternoon. Okay, so we miss a couple of shots on this guy, but that's fine. The flashbang also kills you. Alright, that's not too bad. So, some thoughts on this position. This close position can be good if you have a 5-7 or MP9, and you had a 5-7, so it's fine. It's a good position. The problem with this position is there's no backing away. If you get into a fight, you're committed to a fight. If someone picks you, that's the first problem. The second problem is that if they do throw a flash, you're super vulnerable. Because obviously, if a flash comes over, where do you look? You can look to the wall, I guess, but you're going to get blinded, and that's exactly what happened. So, good position for 5-7 and MP9, but don't overuse it. And in this occasion, they just flashed you, and that's what killed you. Okay, so we shouldn't really be buying here. It's third round. So, we're playing long, or we want to play long. I know you're going to change up B, I think you said at some point. But along, we want to play long range fights, right? We want to take these angles because we want to benefit from the fact that we have a long range position. With an MP9, we can't do that because if we have an MP9, I'm guessing you're going to play close again, which is not the best. And it's third round, so typically what we want to do is if we buy on the second round and we force buy after losing the first round, we want to save on the third round so that we have like money. So we have like 2,000 like blue is doing. And the reason for that is so that we can buy a M4 on the fourth round and buy full grenades on the fourth round. Because now, when we get to the fourth round, you'll also only be able to afford an SMG. And the problem with that is you're going up against players that have AKs. This guy has a Galil and this guy has an AWP. And if you have an SMG every round, you're lowering your chances of winning any kind of fight that you may get because you never have a gun which is on par with your opponent. You're always using a gun which is worse than your opponent because you're not managing your money properly. So if you lose the pistol, you can either save the second round and buy on the third, or what is pretty much given on lower level CS is you buy on the second, save on the third, and then buy on the fourth. That's like a very basic rudimentary rule for lower level CS. So if you buy on the second round, you should not be buying on the third, and then you can buy on the fourth. If that's a bit too much, just look at your money at the start of the round, hit tab, and you can see how much money you have. And before you bought this MP9, which is 1,200, you'd be around 2,000. If you have around 2,000 cash, like blue here, you want to save. If you have 3,000 above, you want to buy. Just as a very basic rule, if you're not quite sure the economy yet, that's the rule I would go with. There is also something very useful on the scoreboard called loss bonus, which if you put your mouse over, it tells you how much money you're going to make per turn. And when you lose rounds in a row, you make more money, which helps you get back in the game. Just some economic tips to be mindful of. But yeah, ideally we wouldn't want to buy here. This is a much better smoke than the one you threw second round. So throw this smoke. This is very, very good. This is like a perfect mid smoke. Now, you can hold it a little longer. You could say maybe throw it like 138 or 135, depending on what the opponent's teams do, because I think that was your thought process when you were playing here and underhanding it. But this is a much better smoke, so do it like this in future. This is good. I would also say that when you play long, ideally you should have a player short so that you can have a crossfire, but we can't control our teammates and we're solo queue, so we have to go without that luxury. But when you're playing on a team with your friends, make sure that you have a guy here so you form a crossfire. And the other thing is, it's better to play on the left or on the right in cubby. We don't want to play in the middle for many reasons actually. The first reason is that if the T's push and we're playing on the corner, we can get a kill and back away, which gives us a chance to stay alive. The second reason is if the opponents all push at once, like 2 or 3 come out the smoke at once, if we play a tighter angle, we can isolate a singular fight and back off, whereas if we're in the open, we're committed to fighting all of them at once. We're very vulnerable. The third reason is if the T's throw a flashbang, which we have already seen them do when you were playing on the close right, in this position, you're blind and you have like 1-2 steps before you're in safety and you're in big trouble. Whereas if you're on the corner and you get blind, you can get out of harm's way much more easily. So I would either play on the left on this corner, or you can also play cubby, which can also be good. The only disadvantage in cubby is obviously once they know that you're in cubby, they know you're in cubby, right? You can't get out of this angle, whereas on the left you can get out of this angle. But these are both 2 good angles, especially with a crossfire, which we don't have the luxury of in this game. But we don't really want to be playing in the middle like this. Okay, so you're playing more on the right, which is good, but you could go into the cubby. Okay, so you're picking a better angle. This is good. This is a better angle than the one that you had. As another point, if you don't have a short player, like because they're not playing the crossfire, although you do have a gun boiler, you can actually play more passively and you have a lot more freedom. So they've thrown this long smoke to try and isolate you. Short smoke rather, not long smoke. So this short smoke will block off arch and then they can isolate you and kill you. You can also play arch here. This is a good angle, especially if you're not worried about the crossfire. But you want to be inside the arch, just again with the same philosophy that if you see a guy, you can back away. You have the option, whereas you're sort of in the open. Okay, so yeah, he just sort of crouches under your spray. That was unlucky. You could have got a kill there, but he just crouched under your spray. They win the round. Okay, so same thing again. You're sort of standing in the open. It's 138, so he could actually peek you and kill you here, and you're an easy kill. You can't even defend yourself because you have a gun out. I understand the philosophy. You're trying to smoke not immediately. You're trying to save your smoke so that you get the most out of your smoke, and that's good. But a safer way of doing it would be playing like back here, playing the angle kind of narrow, and just like jiggling like this, and waiting till you see someone. And then when you see someone, you can left click the smoke. It will bounce off this wall, land here, and then it will cover this entire choke point. And that's much, much, much safer and a better play than what you're doing here, because I don't even think this smoke's going to do anything for you. Yeah, like 132, this is insanely dangerous. Like a T could walk all the way up here, make no noise, peek, and you're dead, right? You have no chance in winning this fight. You have a grenade in your hand. Wow, even longer. Okay. Yeah, this is not a great smoke either. Because if I'm a T, I can just jump on this barrel, go to the wall, get close, the peek, and kill you. But I like the thought process behind it. There's just a better way of doing it, which is just strafe in and out like this. Try and keep it as narrow as possible. And then when you see someone, strafe to the left, left click the smoke, bounce off this wall, lands here, covers the entire choke point, and then you can play in front of the smoke with the MP5, or if you want to be more safe, you can go for a ruins, or church as it's now called, and play an angle like this. I would also play close to the smoke if I had an MP5. As a point, you have an MP5. So because we bought on the third round, we have no money again, so we have to buy an MP5. MP5 is pretty shit, honestly. It's just objectively worse than the MP9, but I've said before that if people have certain SMGs that they like, then it's fair enough to use them, but this is just a worse gun than an MP9 in pretty much all regards. And on this round, again, you're going up against AK, 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 AWP, AWP. So let's say if you had an M4, you had like a 50-50 chance against these guys. With an MP5, I feel like you have like a 10% chance in any particular fight you get with them. Unless obviously you catch them off guard or you get to shoot one when their back's turned. But we don't want that. We want the best favorable terms for every fight that we get into, right? So with our economy, we need to be saving on the third round. So this round, instead of an MP5, you would have an M4 and you would have a much better chance of winning any particular fight you get with a T. Okay, that's kind of unlucky because I think you actually had... Oh, yeah. So your crosshair placement here is good, actually. Because if he peeked on the railing, you would be aiming at his head. So you have good crosshair placement for this angle. It's just unfortunate that he doesn't peek on the railing. He peeks on the lower side. This is a nice try. But again, he also has an AK and you have an MP5, so what can you do? That's why the economy is important. And then we're on an MP5 again. So we're on 5th round. We haven't had a single M4 round yet. We've had one pistol round where you had an even chance of the opponent with the opponents. Second round you have a 5-7, which is a force spy, which is a known economy tactic. And then since then you've been on like shit SMGs the entire time. Okay, so this is a much better way of playing. I like this. This is a good round from you. Because if your teammate sees someone from this angle, you're safe, right? Like, if the T peeks, you're safe. He can't see you. But if your teammate sees someone, you could have your smoke out. You could literally be doing the thing that you were doing last round, and it would be a good play. Because you could have your smoke in your hands, cocked, ready to go. And then when your teammate takes a fight or sees someone, you could throw your smoke off this wall, it will bounce, and then it will smoke off the choke point, and then your teammate has a huge advantage in this fight. So that would be, in this round, that would be a good play if you did it from this position. So you could also throw your smoke when you see the enemy smoke coming in. And we want to be a bit faster to taking this fight with your teammate. Right? Because you're here, which is good that you pick this, but you want to pick it a bit faster so that your teammate benefits from it, right? Because if I'm this T, imagine, and there's a guy here and there's a guy here, I can't kill both of you, right? I can only kill one of you at a time, the way the shooting mechanics works in CS. So going here faster and taking this fight earlier would be super beneficial because it might have kept your teammate alive. But you get a good kill, so that's good. And bomb is dropped, so you know where bomb is. So you're going to communicate the bomb is top banana. And then your teammate's going to come up behind them. And then you get a kill from behind. Okay, this is a good round for you. Nice. And you get an AK for free. Fantastic. So we finally get a good rifle. That's because we just take it off the corpse of our dead fallen foes. That's how we do things at the shortest giant. Why save when you can just take your gun from your enemy? Ugh. Okay, that was a little rough. Yeah, so it should be obvious why you lost this kill. It's spray control, right? I'll have another look just to make it obvious, but it's spray control. You don't control your spray at all. Position is not terrible, but it could be better. So yeah, there's like a bit of indecisiveness. Now I know you don't play B, so I'm not going to be too critical of you playing B here. It's a good thing that you're like sacrificing and playing a position you don't really want to play because your teammate's not playing. But still, we can learn how to play a little bit better on B, and that can be helpful if you ever have to play her again. So on B, if you're a B player, so anyone else that's watching this that plays B, at the start of the round, in spawn, you need to know what you're doing in terms of how are you holding B. Are you taking banana control, in which case you need to be here at the start of the round using grenades to try and block the T's out, or are you playing more passively on site? You can't do both. And these guys are playing a bit more passively on site. So it's good that you back off because you want to play with your teammate always, but playing like you want the longest range possible in a fight, especially when you have an AK, but also just because of the way that peeking works. So, for example, if I'm close to this angle and this guy peeks wide, it's a much harder shot for me to hit in terms of moving my mouse to the left than if he peeks wide and I'm far away. So you have the advantage in this fight if you're further away than where you are. So if you were playing at this angle here instead of playing close. And the other thing obviously we're going to see here is just spray control. Yeah. So we're not pulling the spray down and we're also fully spraying. So spraying at this range is fine if we can spray control, but I would say that's like the reason you lost that fight. That's okay. Okay, now you go back to A. Teammates are taking A. Finally have an M4 at round 6. 7 actually, excuse me. Round 7. I'm playing long. Okay, this is good. Like you're playing long range with your M4, which is great. Again, we just want to be on the left or the right rather than in the middle, but the actual range that you've taken is good and an improvement. Hopefully you stay far back here. And you rotate. There's a CT smoke. And they actually pop the smoke. As soon as we see this CT smoke, we want to get into ruins so that we can... Because obviously, staring at the smoke, we can't do anything. So we need to get into a position where we can actually do something. And a good team will smoke this off too, but it's actually beneficial to be here rather than behind the smoke. However, you're in a 1v3. So the point about clutching, you're not expected to clutch. If you're in a 1v3, 1v4, 1v5, even a 1v2, your chances of winning the round are very low. Don't be tricked into watching other people clutch, because obviously they only ever show the highlights. They don't show all the clutches that they lose. The chances of you clutching are never high. So if you're in a clutch scenario, don't put too much pressure on yourself. You can also, additionally, I probably wouldn't at this round because it's only 1 minute into the game, but there's also the option to save in a clutch scenario. Because your chances of winning this round are very low, you might want to save your M4, your armor, and your grenades, and say, yeah, I can't win this round, it's a 1v3, he has sight control, I'm just going to run and hide and try and save my gun into the next round, and that's a perfectly viable option if you're in a 1v3 like this. So he mollies, which kind of sucks, because now you're super delayed. And then I guess this guy on the right is just going to shoot you. Yeah, that's unlucky really. So this is an angle that he can be. So you can clear it. You could clear this angle, and then clear this angle, but I'm not expecting you to. And it's very difficult to predict that he would be there. And he has an AWP as well, so even if you clear him, he probably still kills you. So that's an unlucky round. In a clutch where you're not supposed to win. Okay, yeah, this is not great. Like, we have an M401S, very long range rifle. We do not want to be close mid. And please don't tell me you peek mid. Oh no. Yeah. So I can tell. I think I have an idea why. Maybe you can tell me if I'm right or not. I reckon the reason you pick mid is because you think it's going to be fast B again because your teammates, you have two teammates that are dead B, so you're like, okay, it's definitely B. I need to try and get behind them. So picking mid is very dangerous, even when uh, even late round, but early round especially, it's incredibly dangerous because there's so many angles that he can be. He can be in Vietnam, he can be close right, he can be close left, he can be jiggling this, he could be T-ramp with an AWP. This is very dangerous. There are situations when you want to push mid, but typically not this early in the round, but then again you've lost two teammates super early. A better option here would be to play the long range because you have the M4, and then when your teammates are dying or because they call that you need help, you can rotate through CT spawn, and then you could be holding this angle, for example, because you have a crossfire with your sight guy, and if they smoke this, you can quickly run into church and then play like a headshot angle or something, rather than pushing behind them on mid. Pushing behind them on mid can be good, but it depends on what information you have. Like if the CT's call that there's 5 banana, then you could possibly push mid. Maybe they did call that. Obviously, I can't tell comms. Um, but yeah, this is a super risky play, pushing down mid, if you don't know where the T's are, and especially when it's so early in the round, like 1 minute 30. You're better off going through CT. But again, you're not losing the round because of you, you're losing the round because your teammates cannot hold B. And for A1S again. Yeah, we do not want to be playing close to the Emperor 1S, and we're going to do this again. Okay. So, I would say from now on, play like far back, especially especially when you have an M4, right? Play on the left angle or the right angle with the M4. Have a timing in your head, which, for example, we could say is 138. And then at 138, get your smoke out, bounce the smoke off the wall, throw the good smoke that you threw earlier, and then have your gun back out, rather than this play, which I don't think is very good. Okay, so you do back off the angle, which is great. But I don't know what your teammate's doing here. Okay, so you've got no one on B, so you're like, okay, shit, I need to go B, which is good. Now you're going back, because bomb is dropped on A. And they molly G library. And there's a guy coming up behind you, and he misses. Okay, it was a nice headshot. Good spray with the M4A1S. The benefit of this M4 over the A4, by the way, besides the fact that it's better at shooting through smokes, is the spray is a lot easier to control. Because it's a lot smaller. And then this guy is flashing you. Yeah. Well, you nearly got him. So that's a decent attempt. Now we're on MP9 again. I don't think you saved a single round. CT side. It's by every single round, which means that there's a lot of rounds where you don't have a good gun. And your team's all dying on A. And now you're in another 1v3. So yeah, this CT side is pretty rough for you because you're just not really given much of a chance to actually do anything. And that's because of your team. So you can't blame yourself for stuff like that. Okay, it was kind of close, but yeah, it was close. Yeah, 20 HP. If you had an M4, you win that round. Win the round. You win that kill at least. It's the MP9 versus a better gun that costs you. Okay, so you're playing sandbags. I like this actually. Ideally, we should have a I don't know what this guy's doing. I don't know if this is your smoke or not. It's not a very good smoke because again the T can just come around here and just kill you. However, I like the fact that you're playing sandbags and playing more aggressively this round. This is a good position if you have like an MP9 or a 5.7 on banana, if you're being forced to play here. With an M4, I probably would play something a little bit more careful, but... Okay, and you're also walk pushing down banana because your team has bomb. This is very good. You're not crouching, are you? No. Don't know why I thought you were crouching. This is a good play by you. And you're gonna not peek, which is good because bomb is dropped. You'll get a kill here. Yeah, this is good. And then you just hold for this guy. Okay, this is a good round. This is a really good round from you, actually. You picked like a new spot that you haven't played before. You took aggro banana control, which was good, and then you walked down banana, which meant that because you're not running down, you're not giving step info. Bomb is dropped, so you know that you don't have to rush, and then you hold an angle to get a kill here. So this is a very good round from Alex. This is good. Hopefully you don't peek too ramp. So you get a little impatient, I think, and also your teammate died, so you're like, oh shit, I need to do something. But yeah, it was a good round. And now we're back on M4. So the reason, like, ironically, you're not being punished for your bad economy management as much because you're losing every round. So every round you have 4 lost round bonus, which means you're getting the most amount of money every round, which is why you've got so many M4s despite having no economy management. Ironically, if the CTs were winning more rounds, you would actually have worse money because you wouldn't have lost round bonus, and there would be more rounds where you wouldn't have an M4, and you would have shit chances of winning any fight because you would have an MP9 or an MP5 or a pistol. So just a point to like, if you improve your economy management and work out when to save, you'll have more rounds with M4, and then you have better chance of killing opponents. I don't know if this is your smoke or not. No, I think it's oranges, but this is a good smoke. See, this one's better because as a T, I can't get to the left of it and bypass it, right? Like, I'm stuck here. If I go through the smoke, it's an easy kill for you. So this is good. Also, your setup with orange is really good on banana. This is like an aggressive banana setup, and you're both fighting, which is great. You do take damage from grenade, that sucks, but, you know. I don't think the molly did anything. So the smoke will extinguish the Molotov if the molly lands on the smoke. That's a good flash. Hopefully you don't peek. Okay, you don't. You should get a kill here. Nice, that's good. And then you just get traded by up. Again, this is a perfectly good round from you. There's literally no issues, really. Obviously, throwing the smoke and the Molotov is... throwing the Molotov in the smoke is not the best, but... Okay, so CT side. Obviously, we know that you weren't playing your favoured spot. You were forced to play on B, but you did, like, a decent job on B, actually. On long, just some tips to have a better time. Play the long angle like this and have your crosshair here. You can play this close angle if you have a 5.7 or an MP9, but if you have an M4, play the long range angles. Make the most of the fact that you have a long range gun. And also play the angles that are safer so that you can back away. You're more resistant to flashbangs. You're more resistant to fast rushes. If they push 4 people up mid, you can isolate a single person rather than if you're in the middle, you can't isolate anyone and they can all charge you at once. So play the longer, more narrow angles. You can also play cubby. A tip to play cubby, like an effective way to play cubby, is you can peek, hide, peek, hide, peek, hide. And then if you get a lucky timing, when the guy comes out mid, if you're hidden, just by chance, he might turn his back to you, or he might put his crosshair on the right side. And then when you peek, you get a free kill. So there's 2 better angles to play on long. This angle's fine. 5.7 MP9. Good guns, play these longer range angles. Don't play in the middle. If you should ideally have a short player, but if you don't have a short player, remember you always have the option to back off. You could play like a much more passive angle like this if you wanted to. You could play an arch and play on the side of the arch if you wanted to. You weren't given much of a chance because you didn't have any short player. But there's some ways to improve on long. On B, I thought you did like a fairly decent job when you were playing in aggressive banana spots. But obviously you need to be on the same page as your teammate on B, which can be difficult as solo queue. But you played very well when you were playing sandbags, that was good. If we're going to have a smoke out ready for the banana rush, the better way to do it is to be peeking like this, and then when we see someone bounce it off this wall, smoke here, it will block the entire choke point. You can play in front of the smoke, or you can pick a second line by going into church. It's not a good idea to just have our smoke out in the open, especially for so long like you had it on banana where they can kill you. If you have an MP9 or a 5.7, you can push for banana control. Other banana spots include you can go on top of this box, can be good. First box, second box, new box. Any of these positions on B, if you're playing more passively, can be good. I know you're not familiar with B, but I thought your banana control was good. Oh, that's a shame. Excuse the Oblivion ambience I've got playing just to chill out. But yeah, overall, I don't think you had a bad CT side. I know you have like one round, so you might be thinking, "Oh, Jesus!" But when we think about our performances, yes, and try to analyze how good we did. Let's try to bear in context in mind. And if we know that we're not playing the spot that we want to play because our teammates just doing their own thing, then obviously we're not going to have as good a game. Obviously our stats are not going to be as good, but we can still, when adapting and playing a new position, learn stuff about that position so that if we're ever forced to play there again, we can do a better job. And I actually thought you were decent on the aggro B rounds with the M4. So, yeah. Okay. Apps take on pistol. One guy going banana, 3 guys going towards A. You're going with your teammate, which is good. You're coming out after him, which is good. Okay, nice shot on the pit guy. That's great. So remember the golden rule of like, when your teammate's planting and gets the bomb down, you immediately want to be in a good position on site, and you do not want to be pushing for kills, right? On T side. So bombs down, first thing that should appear in your head is, okay, let's get into a good position. This is an okay position. I would probably prefer if you played like here, so that the CT has to like fully, like, if you imagine you're the CT, right? Like, imagine I'm a CT here with my view. It's far more likely that I'm going to check you here than fully check you here, because I'd be worried about giving my back to graveyard, to pit, and to short. So maybe playing in the left corner would be a bit better. Also, your crosshair is a little low just for crosshair placement. Yeah, and this guy just deletes you, but that's kind of unlucky. I mean, he just does literally headshot you, so what can you do about that? But your teammate wins the round. I don't know why you've bought Berettas on second round. Ideally, you should have a Mac 10 here, not Berettas. And again, you're peeking with a grenade out, right? Like, if there was a guy here, I guess there's a molly, so you could say, well, he's mollied, so maybe not, but just as a good habit, don't ever peek this angle with a grenade in your hand. Even though in this context, he's mollied, so he won't be able to kill you. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that Molotov is. Maybe I'll do a video on grenades on Inferno if people actually want that. I don't know. Okay, so bomb is towards A. Okay. You have a 3v2, so you can win this round. 2v1. Okay, you pick up an AK, which is great. So you get a free AK again. Why buy a good gun if you can just pick one off your enemy? And you get a good kill here. That's good. Nice. Again, just maybe don't buy barrels. Oh, okay. Yeah, so when we take banana, I think you threw a HE here. This is actually a good HE. But we want to be throwing the HE from like this position so that when we get close banana, we can have our grenade we can have our gun out so that we can immediately trade this guy. But I mean, you did trade him, so that's good. But ideally, I think you like had a grenade out and then your knife out when they could peek and be pushing you. Okay. I mean, wow, you almost killed this guy as well. Good to spam through the smoke. Just be careful not to do it too much, because then they'll start spamming back. You molly CT, which is fine. Okay. Okie dokie. Alright, nice try, but I can actually tell you exactly what went wrong here. And I've seen it before in this game. So this is a great tip for newer players. Even other people watching this in the group that I've seen do this, by the way. Even with more hours. I'll explain what's going wrong and how to fix it. So the problem with this is if you want to fix this, and you'll fix it, you'll get a lot more consistency in fights that you win, is what you're doing is you're shooting and then aiming, right? It's very common with lower experienced players. Again, I'm not trying to pick on you or be mean or anything, it's just something to bear in mind. So, we'll see on slow motion. You're going to see the opponent, and then you're going to shoot, and then you're going to aim. Right? And again, I've seen most people I play in the chat do this, because it's like a lower level habit or problem. And it comes from like playing other shooters as well, I guess, because CS has quite unique mechanics. To fix this, we need to remember like the golden rule, which is we need to aim, then shoot, not shoot, then aim. So you have very low chance of winning this fight, because as soon as you see the guy, you start shooting, instead of as soon as you see the guy, you aim on his head and then shoot, right? Like this guy hasn't even started shooting yet, so we need to put our crosshair on his head, then we need to shoot, rather than we need to shoot and then move our crosshair onto his head. Because the way that shooting mechanics work in CS is that we are now spraying because you've held down your mouse, which means that we're now worried about recoil control and that we're not accurate, and our bullets are just going everywhere. You can see them on the wall over here, because I think you're also moving a little bit too. And I think you do some damage. But the way to prevent this from happening is just to remember that rule. See the opponent, put a crosser on their head, or on the body at least, then shoot, rather than see the opponent, immediately start shooting, and then move a crosshair to the opponent. And if you practice that as you play, and especially as you deathmatch, you will, all of a sudden, you'll be like, holy moly, I'm actually winning a ton more duels than I used to. Because it's, I think, the most common thing at like newer players struggle with, and even players with like a lot more hours than you struggle with. So if you can practice that, you'll have a lot more success in gunfights. A drill, if anyone is like, whoa, that kind of sounds like me, or if, by the way, if you don't think that's you, I promise you, watch one of your own demos. I guarantee you'll see yourself doing it, because it's so common, it's so prevalent. When I was coaching Zoe, I saw it all the fucking time. But if you want to like, if you want like a way to improve that, because you, I don't know, watch one of your own demos and you're like, oh shit, I'm doing that too. What you can do is you go into a death match, right? And all you have to do is practice a drill wherein when you go into the death match, instead of shooting at people as soon as you see them, don't shoot at all. Just practice putting your crosshair on the opponent. Go into a deathmatch, and every time you see someone, like you see someone here, instead of just shooting, you just put your crosshair on them. And that's it. You don't shoot. And yeah, you'll finish with like shit stats. That's not the point. The point is that all of a sudden, you'll feel like your aim's really bad, because you'll notice that your crosshair is never on the opponent. And it's because you've developed this bad habit, which is you're just shooting as soon as you're seeing someone, and then you're trying to move your crosshair to where the opponents are, and it's just not an effective way of shooting. But that's okay. I mean, it was close. You got some kills with the spray, like the last couple of spray bullets. But that's like a huge tip that I really stress will be super useful if you're a newer player, or even if you have a couple more hours and you feel like that's a bad habit that you have. Okay, and your teammate's been sandwiched by mid-push, which is not great. So ideally, if we had 4 people, again, this round's not your fault at all. If we had 4 people taking banana, we could have a guy like holding mid. But unfortunately, we have Roberto Blanco, and he's playing AWP, and he's admiring this this bust of Lothar Sindaris from my homies in the chat that will get that reference. And yeah, he's not doing anything. So this is unfortunate, right? Because if our pal Roberto Blanco was playing T-spawn and checking this angle with his AWP, he would be effective and he'd be able to communicate that they're pushing behind you. But it's solo queue, so we can't rely on that, and we've been sandwiched, which is not great. Yeah, and this guy just sprays you with his P90, and Roberto still hasn't done anything, and he has the AWP, and it's now a 4v1, and he has no chance of doing anything. And I think this is the last round of the game. That went by fast, Jesus. I said, okay, I don't think you played particularly badly this game, Alex, honestly. I think on CT side, hopefully I've given you some tips on how to play long with some better positioning. to give yourself a better chance of any of the fights you get. On B, on playing B, considering you don't play B, I thought you did a very good job, especially on the aggro banana rounds. Not so much on just obviously holding your smoke out in CT, but I'm sure after watching it back, you'll be like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. It was super dangerous. But it's very easily fixed if you just follow what I told you. I thought in terms of gunfights, you won like quite a few fights. You had a very good pistol kill with good aim. You had some good crosshair placement for certain angles. I think you would benefit massively from practicing that maxim I told you, which was to aim then shoot, don't shoot then aim. If you practice that, I feel like your percentage in fights that you're winning would go up massively. I also think that having a little bit of a um, better knowledge on the economy and when to save if the game is closer and you don't have like the loss streak of like losing 4 rounds in a row to fall back on. I reckon that improving that would help you a lot. But otherwise, yeah, I don't think this was a particularly too bad game. It's 13-3. Your team didn't really give you much of a chance to do anything because obviously they were playing random positions on CC side and they didn't really know what they were doing. So hopefully that video is helpful. And yeah, thanks for sharing.